I think it's a mistake for a lot of black wrestlers or just black people in general to be on Vlad TV, considering the history that this guy has of exploiting issues amongst other black folks and causing rifts, causing a lot of dissension and stirring the pot. This guy has a history of doing that, and with this whole beef, quote unquote, with Booker T and Swerve. Well, I mean, technically it is a beef, right? But this all really started on Vlad TV. Swerve being asked certain questions about, him, how black wrestlers are represented, what I'm saying? And Vince McMahon airing out the N-word on live TV to Booker T. And Swerve, he still looks at that as an insult. He still looks at that as Booker T not taking a stand for that. So we're going to get into the clip of Swerve being interviewed. It's a short clip, addressing, the N-word that was being used on Booker T not being used on Booker T. I think it was a segment with John Cena and Vince McMahon, but it was used around at the time Booker T was around. So let's get into it.
I've been with the company for a long time. I know I've been treated fair for the last 20 years.
That's not what happened when Vince said the N-word in front of you. That's not being treated fair, in my opinion. And to that statement, it's not even what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, what people are saying. I'm saying what your audience is saying. So it's not just me just talking out of my ass out of nowhere. It's what your audience has been complaining about for the better part of like 2-3 years from not seeing black talent even getting single matches on PLEs and stuff like that. It's not.
Now, I'm starting to think this, his frustration is stemming from the fact that he was let go very quickly within his WWE run. Within like 3 weeks of coming to the main roster. The whole thing with black wrestlers not getting TV time, not getting a singles match on a PLE, that doesn't happen a whole lot. But you can't sit here and say that has never happened, because it has. And guys like Booker T, and I'm about to get into his whole setting the record straight on Swerve in just a minute, but Booker T completely goes off, man. Like, Swerve got this guy riled up. He got Booker T spazzing out, crashing out, but he was speaking some facts though, right? You can't deny that. Booker T was the one that was always putting over Swerve and gave him a lot of praise and supported him. And as a black wrestler, Booker T opened the doors for Swerve Strickland to be taken seriously, to be looked at as a serious wrestler, as a black man. Because for so long, black wrestlers have been pretty much marginalized and have been dancing buffoons, right? Just, entertainers. And there's nothing wrong with a black man in wrestling being an entertainer, but to being pigeon-toed into just that one thing, not being looked at as a serious wrestler, not being looked at as a serious performer, this has been going on for years. Booker T was the main one cracking open those doors, breaking new ground, setting the bar high for how black wrestlers in this business should be treated, how they should be viewed. Okay, back in the day, you had a Junkyard Dog, you had Coco Beware, and then you have the New Day, obviously. They were treated more like just dancing buffoons, throwing pancakes, twerking, selling Bootio cereal, whatever. They were looked at as, not a serious act, but they were definitely highlighted for their great tag team matches that they were having during their run. But on the surface, you would look at the New Day and not really take them serious. Swerve, I can tell, he prides himself as being a serious competitor. And Swerve, for him to, address the whole N-word thing with Vince McMahon and Booker T, to basically alluding to the fact that, yeah, he's been mistreated. Yeah, he's been treated unfairly, which is not very fair to say, because then that would make people believe that Booker T is some type of victim of racism or discrimination, which there's no doubt that he was, but we're not going to use the race card to play victim. The man opened doors, like he said, right? And I can even play this real quick. Let me just get right to it.
There you go.
Forward it up.
You know what? I don't like. Like I said, I was at an event this weekend. I was at an event this
Let me
weekend,
fast forward this
Richmond,
real
Virginia,
quick.
and at the same party, said, you know, be having the energy when Mr. Man said the N word. I rest assured I had the energy when I saw him because I approached Swerve Strickland and I had a conversation with Swerve Strickland. Let's talk about the conversation in depth as far as what I told Swerve Strickland. I had an offer to be on Vlad TV before as well, and I turned it down. They called me back and they offered me money to go on Vlad TV, and then I turned it down because I was not going to go on Vlad TV and be exploited. I wasn't going to go on, on Vlad TV and him make me look like a fool.
And that makes Booker T look very smart because, the history of Vlad TV, like I said, he can stir the pot on a lot of things and cause a lot of dissension among black folks. And, he definitely accomplished that with Swerve and Booker T. So Booker T did not want to be treated like some victim, because he knew that he was going to bring up Triple H, quote unquote, burying him at WrestleMania 19. A lot of people can say that was a burial. It was, it definitely could have played into the fact that Triple H may have been discriminating at that time or just holding talent back in general, which he definitely was as being a top guy. But throughout the duration of Booker T's career, he was treated pretty good. You pay attention to his career, he was given a lot of opportunities to shine. And, Booker T probably at times there was, times of him being mistreated, but it wasn't so blatantly obvious to our faces that they're really treating Booker T unfairly here. Like, no. Booker T, once again, he never looked at it as, I'm a black man in wrestling, people are going to look at me a certain way and they're going to look at me as a threat. Nah, Booker T was just a professional through and through and just worked ultra hard to be who he is today, to be a Hall of Famer, to be a legend, to open those doors. There's no excuses at the end of the day, because you look at Kofi Kingston went through it. Kofi Kingston paid his dues. He paid hard dues. There's not a lot of successful black men in wrestling. Kofi Kingston, Booker T, Bobby Lashley, that's to name a few. Mark Henry, and they all paid their dues. They all had to go through hard times, some type of discrimination. But that didn't stop them from being successful.
In front of the world, I was not going to do that, and I wasn't going to go on Vlad TV and say anything negative towards any black man that's ever been in this business, because I know how hard it is for all of them. I've been the first one to say it. Any brother getting his bag, I'm all in, 100%. But I told Swerve Strickland to his face how disappointed I am in him as a young brother, because all I did for Swerve Strickland ever was put him over and put him on a pedestal as being one of the best out there that ever did. He deserved being the AEW champion, and for him to say something like that about me, I don't know if these guys think racism stopped in 1990 when I got in business, but it did. Okay, you may not hear a lot of racial issues with Booker T, because I handled racial issues head first. I opened doors. I broke down barriers.
And basically what he's referring to is that he didn't need to make those issues public. Any racism that he was dealing with at that time, he handled that behind closed doors, right? Up front, personal. There is no need to out anybody or to make anything public. I think the feeling that I'm getting is that Swerve is trying to make Booker T look like a victim, like himself. And that's the wrong approach to go about it, because this guy has literally been given the keys to the kingdom in AEW. Swerve should be lucky and grateful for guys like Booker T. Okay? You know what I'm saying? The N-word, that's not the biggest issue here. Okay? Like, that was just a goofy segment that Vince wanted to put together. And I bet you a lot of people laughed about it at the time that segment aired. And me personally, I don't get offended with the N-word. I really don't. I mean, it depends on how it's used in whatever context. But as a black man myself, I don't get offended when I hear the N-word at all. It's just a word. I think it's a demeaning term, depending on how you use it. But to just, use it in general doesn't really matter. once again, this is just stirring the pot, and Swerve fell for the okie doke, and he's now the talk of the town, which is quite interesting because, yeah, he is booked for a world title match with Jon Moxley for Dynasty. So I think this was a way for Swerve, in my opinion, to get some attention on himself and AEW. Why not? You don't. Does anybody like get the idea that maybe Tony Khan, co-signed him to go on that interview, and knowing Vlad's history with stirring the pot with his guests, that, yeah, if you talk about certain situations with black wrestlers in pro wrestling, you address those issues and whatnot, we can kind of spin it and, bring up someone like Booker T and, and just kind of make him look like a victim and cause this whole entire rift, causes this whole entire, ticking time bomb just exploded on social media type of situation, and this could just be a way for them to get attention on themselves, Swerve and Tony Khan. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was all just a plan, just staged to like get AEW some attention. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Swerve, he left, got released, and made himself a bigger star in AEW. Not to the levels of what we see in WWE, but for AEW standards, he is one of their top guys, and he should be fortunate enough to have this relationship with Tony Khan to where he can take advantage of him, and basically, anything he says can go, and pretty sure Swerve has some type of creative control over what his character is and what he can do and stuff like that. But I think this was just a way for this interview to kind of victimize Booker T, when that's complete bullshit, because Booker T should not be victimized at all, because like he said, racism did not just magically stop in the 1990s. Okay, it continued, it was ongoing. Okay, but he never tried to make it something that was a big deal. Booker T himself doesn't want to be exploited. He doesn't want to be a victim, because he knows that he paved the way. He opened doors. He broke down doors. He broke glass ceilings as a black man in wrestling. So why would someone like Booker T need to feel as though he should be exploited for something, as how black wrestlers are treated, the lack of opportunities, which that to me is all lies, because there are black wrestlers that are getting opportunities to shine and to have the spotlight. Okay, from a month from now, well, actually not a month, within like 3 weeks, we're going to get Javon Evans, Obafemi, Trick Williams, triple threat match for the NXT Championship at Stand and Deliver. That's going to be the main event for NXT. So please, shut the hell up with all this, black wrestlers don't get enough opportunities type of talk. Okay, it's old, it's exhausted. It's like, just let it go.
For people like Swerve Strickland perhaps would not even be here if it wasn't for me. I have to apologize for nothing that I've done in this business, because I've gone out there and literally represented in the ring, out of the ring, from day one all the way to this day in 2025. Okay, you speak on this McMahon and him saying that you want me to be angry black men in the company. You want me to not open doors and make spaces for people like you. That's what you want me to do.
And Booker T, for the most part, had to always put his personal feelings aside so that he can do business the right way. And to me, that's a professional. Okay? And there's a stigma of an angry black man and how that's viewed and all that stuff. Well, Booker T wasn't going to stoop down to those levels just because of a little bit of unfair treatment, And it's guys like Vlad TV that he circles around those type of issues and kind of, puts the battery in someone's back. Like if he had Booker T on his show, which I believe Booker T refused, or he just decided to back out the last minute, which he was smart either way, right? That he was going to be positioned as that angry black man if he were to fall into that exploitation, the way Swerve did. Swerve, he wasn't smart enough. He got played in this situation of being exploited as, a black wrestler in this industry, and the unfair treatment. Once again, Swerve is coming from the place of, I got done dirty, You know, let's just call it like it is. This guy got released within 3 weeks. He was cut immediately. Okay, he was there for a cup of coffee. You blinked twice. You didn't really blink twice. You blinked one time, he gone. Yeah, Swerve, he swerved up out of there real quick and went to AEW. And that's what happened. So there is definitely some animosity I'm sensing with Swerve, judging by the interview and him bringing up Triple H and NXT and how he was positioned and the opportunities that he wanted to get. You know, I don't think Swerve has gotten over how he was treated in the WWE. I mean, he wasn't really treated any type of way because he wasn't there long enough to really receive unfair treatment. He was just cut. He was just let go. That was it. He didn't really deal with Vince McMahon enough to really warrant any type of like, yeah, I was treated unfairly. I was screwed over. I mean, you can say he was screwed over. He wasn't given a chance to really show what he can do on the big stage. Okay, that was the issue. He wasn't given a chance, and that's the reality of it, man.
First, I hope you're never going to be in the movies. I hope you're never going to be on a movie set because you might hear somebody say the N word, and if you got a problem with it, they're going to tell your ass to get the hell out of here. Because
Right,
this
right.
is a movie, all right? And I'm upset. I'm upset because.
So I'm gonna end it right here. I'm pretty sure y'all have already seen this interview with Booker T. Or not interview, but his whole talk show, Reality Wrestling. Pretty sure y'all have heard, what he had to say to Swerve and send the record straight. Y'all can watch the full video on his channel. But for right now, thank y'all for watching. This is Rational Wrestling Mark. Subscribe and share and comment down below your thoughts. And peace.